Merry Christmas, everybody, from South Alabama, where it was almost 70 degrees yesterday. Probably going to be around the same temperature today, Christmas Day. Not quite as sunny, though. But yeah, I'm loving the weather down here. Anyway, I got some shop card shout outs to share. I recently got some of mine made and have sent them out to a few people, and I've got a few more in return. So we're going to start there. The first one, this is from Tim Carson in New York. This is Box Stock Garage. If you haven't checked out his channel, please be sure to do so. What is... I'm not sure, was that a Pontiac maybe? Good looking car though. Box Stock Garage, Tim Carson, check him out. And then I also got everybody's old favorite, Old Tom Rambler 69. That VW, man, that really gets it for me. That's a good looking hauler with the dragster on the back of it. Oh yeah, that is a beauty. Old Tom, check him out. And he sent me one of his stickers, so that's going to go on the bench top. And this isn't a shop card, but it is available, I believe, to any customer. But the O'Reilly's 2025 calendar. There's actually a couple versions of this. This is one that they produce for our commercial customers, I believe. And then there's another one that is actually vehicles from employees, team members. They send in pictures throughout the year in different categories, and then they announce a winner, and then the winners in each category get produced into the 2025 calendar. So like I said, there's a couple versions of this. This one, these are full page photographs, and on the back, that's every month there. So good looking machines. My inspiration, some of them. All right, so got a little bit of work done on the darts. Still working on trying to get my doors situated for hinging. I got to get the jambs built up and made. I'm still kind of sussing that out a little bit. So I've had the chassis and the interior kind of in and out multiple times in the last week. But as you can see, the chassis is painted. This is semi-gloss black. None of this suspension is actually glued in right now. In fact, this rear suspension is about to fall out on me. And the reason I haven't glued it is, well, especially the rear suspension, I'm actually gonna raise that rear end a little bit more, so I need to create some blocks to lift it slightly. I'm not even in camera. Anyway, and then the front suspension, it's also just kind of in position right now. Nothing's glued, except the interior bucket, that is glued. And I've got my seats are painted, all semi-gloss black, and what I'm probably going to do still is go over these with kind of a dark gray wash to accent some of those seam lines in the seats and in the interior. I'm still debating on whether or not I want to flock the carpeting and the package shelf. I've got some black. It's not flocking. It's actually what is that? Oh, embossing powder. Yeah. I've used it a few times on a couple other models, and it works really good as you're flocking. What else? Oh, I want to show you the dashboard. So you can see that the gauge cluster is missing. I cut that out because with the PE set that I received, you get this printed on a clear acetate, and that's probably not real visible, but somewhat. Anyway, so what will happen is I'll put this, I will glue this to a piece of sheet styrene, real thin sheet styrene. All right, so now you got your white backing to it, so all of your numbers on your gauges will show up in white. All right, but before I even glue that on, I might, on the back side of the acetate, with my magnifiers, I will get in there and take just a little bit of orange and mark our needles so that once it's against the white background, the needles will show through. And then I'll trim that and place it behind the dashboard. So that'll fill in that area that's missing. So we'll glue it from the backside, and all you'll see is the gauge cluster. And yet this also is not detailed yet. There's no detail painting done. You know, the heater, air conditioner controls, the radio, all that needs to get probably a chrome colored paint rather than trying to use any kind of a foil finish on that. That's going to be difficult. So it'll probably get paint. What else? Oh, I got my wheels and tires are painted. Not the best job. You know, I think I mentioned in one of the first videos when I got these tires that I thought the script lettering on the sidewalls was a little too tall, a little too proud. I'm actually pretty glad that it is, because that's really difficult to paint. Hopefully that's showing up. Yeah, it's out of focus. Well, that's probably about as close as I can get it and get it in focus. Anyway, but there they are. Those are my rears and my fronts. A little bit, here we go. A little bit wider on the rear, a little narrower in the front. Oh, and I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me see. Can you see the Schrader valve there on the bottom between the spokes, right there on the bottom? How about that? Took a little Tamiya rubber black and hit those so they stand out. So that kind of brings me up to date with where I'm at on the USACC build. I've got some more shop cards coming in to me from some other modelers, so they will get mentioned in the next one. Something else I still need to suss out. This aftermarket engine, the 3D printed engine, doesn't have the same motor mounts as what the kit engine does. And the motor mounts that are part of the chassis that are molded in are too wide. So they don't actually cradle the engine when it's in position. So I need to figure out how to make my own engine mounts so I can get that in the proper location. That's where my knowledge of actual automobiles fails me slightly, because I'm not real sure how to go about doing that. I'm gonna have to search the internet for some photographs and see if I can put it together in my mind that way so that I can build something that'll work. But that's going to be another bit of a scratch building process to make that happen. There was also a recent community question thrown out there from Woody's Scale Model Garage, and that is, who is responsible, or who ignited your passion for building models, plastic models? I wish I had a great story like Woody had. I am the oldest of 4. I've got 2 younger brothers, and my sister's the baby. My dad is the youngest of 5 from his family, and the only one in his family that still lived relatively close to home. All of my uncles and aunts lived either a couple hours out of town or several hours out of state. And I even had one uncle that we didn't see or hear from for almost 10 years. So none of my cousins were really around to inspire me in that way. And I guess I really would have to say it's my dad, even though he didn't really build models with me. I remember when I was real young, probably 4 or 5 years old, I can remember he built, well, he used to get the Comet. I think Comet was the brand name of the balsa and tissue rubber band powered airplanes that you'd have to assemble and finish. I remember him building one of those and then actually crashing it into the fence that surrounded our backyard. And then it went up in flames because he had set a hibachi grill next to the fence and lit it so that there was thermal air, hot air rising. And I guess his idea was that the hot air would help carry the airplane further aloft. But it just didn't really work. It went over the lit grill, hit the fence, and then fell into the grill. And another time he built a model rocket. Thing was probably less than a foot tall. And I remember he launched it in our front yard on an overcast day, and we never saw it again. And years later, I actually got into rockets myself, probably junior high-ish, and messed around with those all through high school, really. But the first kit I got, and I don't really know how I got it. It might have been a birthday present. I don't recall. But it was, and I showed it to y'all recently. It was one I acquired at the Acme show that I found in one of the vendors' piles. It's not really the Diora. Mine was, they called it the Fantasy, but it is the Diora in a different boxing. And that was the first one I remember. And then I remember at some point he brought home a ship, a wooden sailing ship model. It was a plastic model, but it was of an old wooden sailing ship. And it had vacuum formed sails, way, way out of my abilities to build. And I think I started on it and just ruined it not too far into it. So that never did get finished. It might have even been the Cuddy Sark, maybe. I really don't remember. And then after that, there were some school friends, we'd get kits here and there. So yeah, I guess initially it would be my dad. But like I said, we never did build anything together. He really didn't do any of that from the time that I got that first plastic kit. He never was really involved in any of that. So, yeah, that's where it started, I guess, for me. And to my knowledge, neither one of my younger brothers, and I know my sister doesn't do any modeling like this. So I'm really the only one that caught that bug. Now, my brother Jeff, who's 3.5 years younger than me, he's the brother right behind me. We are both aviation nuts. We both served in the U.S. Air Force. He was a mechanic on F-16s for the 4 years that he was in. I was a mechanic on B-52s and then the B-2s for the 9 years that I was on active duty. So we had a very strong aviation love. And the car thing for me is, and I've said it before, it's newer for me. But yeah, so that's my answer to Woody's question. My dad. And until the next one, which won't be quite as long next week, I actually didn't get this made right away and thought, well, since Christmas is still only a couple more days away, I'll just wait and get this out on Christmas Day. So that's why it's a couple of days behind schedule. But next week we'll try to get back on schedule. If not later on Sunday, then definitely later on Monday I'll have the next video up. All right, but I hope you all have had a great Christmas. I hope weather has been kind to you, that you're not stuck somewhere that you don't want to be, that all your family is safe and cared for, and I hope you got everything you wanted. I didn't get any real presents because I buy myself presents all year long, so nothing really to show from under a Christmas tree. So, but anyway, remember the spirit of the season, the reason for the season. Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, was born this day to save all mankind. Peace and love, my friends. Take care of yourselves.